Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum.
Hello everyone, good morning, and thank you for your company of doing very foundational sitting meditation followed by a Dharma talk. This is our regular activities of Sakya Sachozo here in Canberra. We've been doing this quite a few number of years, particularly during this pandemic. We've been doing it more strenuously to reach as many people as possible, as people aren't able to access even to the local center. So it's good that we can all reconnect in this way. We'll do the refuge and cultivation of bodhicitta before doing this meditation. And now we'll leave the meditation completely in silence, since most of you, if all of you, already should be know what to do. Only if your mind is is guarded by the shepherd. The shepherd is there as he's got flock. So I leave it to you in complete silence as a way to develop one-pointed sitting meditation. So before we do that, today is new moon, and 8th of the 8th, 2021, still in a very peak of pandemic. The world is not better at all, so therefore it needs a lot of goodwill and understanding of all of this dukkha, collective and individuals. Only when we have our mind very, very calm and clear can we understand and embrace these challenges in a very meaningful way, rather than burdening ourselves with more dukkha, craving to no pandemic when we have pandemic. So we need to embrace the pandemic. The more the serious the pandemic, more relevant the Dharma becomes. So it's very good that all of you have taken liberty to give time to meditate. So now join your hands at the heart. The prayers will be screen shared for you. If no, we can't. Okay. So for some reason last week was there. So I was assuming, but most of you know the prayer by heart. Anyway, I'll say out fairly loud, so I should be audible, not in your ears, at least in your heart, what sentiment we are trying to express as we say these prayers with profound gratitude and respect to the Buddha, how he dealt with the dukkha caused by craving through his renunciation, self-discipline, and meditation. How he didn't react and overreact, but instead retreated from those unproductive reactions, but learned to take real proactions by being in meditation. So in following the footsteps of the Buddha, we're going to do the prayer. We're going to remember the precious teachings and the holy Sangha of fellowship of Dharma that has kept this torch burning all these years and centuries, and that makes a lot of difference when we are able to tune to the wavelength of Dharma. So rejoicing the refuge, renewing our commitment and study and practice, most importantly implementation, and during these times of difficulties. We renew our commitment to practice for immeasurables and with a great gentleness and care. Oyenda Buddha Dhamma Sangha Aitere Pete Laiteme Bhavache Ajevendala Ajare Padavatuebe and Abu Tadama jame vache ajendala ashare oda hojove and abu dadamazanga ate refuge lajame bavache ajevandala ashare oda hojove happiness and the cause of happiness may they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering may they never part from the happiness that knows no suffering may they dwell equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. May all beings happiness and the cause of happiness may they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering may they never part from the happiness that knows no suffering may they dwell equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. May all beings happiness and the cause of happiness may they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering may they never part from the happiness that knows no suffering may they dwell equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. So you can remain in that very stillness of meditation. My giving talk on the topic should be only the background, but you should be using your meditative, reflective, attentive state of listening to something deeper than sometimes the words themselves express will greatly increase your comprehension and therefore understanding. We are talking this term, this series of Sundays on the Eightfold Noble Path. Last week we talked about the first of the Eightfold Noble Path, that's the right view. Right view is first of the Eightfold Path, mainly consisting of the right ideas, right kind of philosophical views that one must have. Everybody has a certain philosophy in their life, whether they have subscribed to it formally as to a great body of teachings or not. Everybody have a certain philosophy in their life that they cherish. And so if they have that right view, at least conceptually in their mind, if people have the right view, not only conceptually but also really believe in them, really employ them in everyday sense of the purpose, of course there will be a great degree of consistency in the person being able to stick with the right view, because his likelihood of falling into the trap of wrong views will be reduced. So in order to utilize the function of the right view, then we talk about the second of the Eightfold Path, that is right. Samyak Visamkalpa in Sanskrit is Samyak Samkalpa. Sometimes translated as right thought, or some people may go right conception. But here I choose the right word, right intention. Right intention, as with every other Eightfold Path, every other Eightfold Noble Path, it always points out what's the opposite of the right. What is the wrong intentions? And we cannot have right intention unless we know that most of the things that we need to be concerned with our intention. If we are subjectively and cognitively able to recognize our own intention, then at least we can spot intention that are wrong, spot intention that are right, spot intention that are a little bit neutral or of half-half. And so we need to have the ability to spot and read our own intention. And usually most people are not able to write their wrong intention because they don't see their intention. They're very unconscious of their intention, let alone choosing right from wrong. They become completely submerged in the wrong intention, and often thinking it is right intention. So we are talking about how to upscale ourselves, being able to develop a conscious ability to look within and spot our intention. Usually we're always looking outside, what someone did or said, that is good or proper or improper. We always busily engaging in the right and wrongs of things outside. So a person who follows the Eightfold Noble Path, particularly having access to the right view, when we talk about that everything is being impermanent, is a very, very you can see the impermanence of things everywhere outside. everywhere outside us, whether it's from nature to people or to society or nature of your relationship with people or position in society, what you can or cannot do, all are impermanent. You can see them. The impermanence doesn't really have to be intellectual view. You just can see it. You can actually see them changing before your naked eyes. So right view in terms of you can witness impermanence everyday life, but you've got to, in order to witness the impermanence, you've got to consciously know the impermanent things as impermanent, not and then view them as correctly. But usually we do not view impermanent, changing things. We don't have the right view of impermanence. When things change, we resist, we react, we despise, and we create dukkha. Our dukkha is created by having wrong view. By having wrong view, not being able to subscribe to the law of impermanence, but rebelling against the law of impermanence, resisting and then reacting to the change without embracing it. So therefore, even right view is not so much about how things are there, but one has to subjectively reconcile with the impermanence of things. And then, therefore, the eightfoldness of the path is that even though you have the right view of knowing everything is impermanence and all afflicted emotions are unsatisfactory, there's no truly existing self, if you're able to understand all these three principles of the Buddhist path, you have this right view in conceptually speaking. But until you have the right intention, you wouldn't actually have you wouldn't gain a lot of mileage of having mere conceptual right view of everything is impermanent, life is suffering, there's no self. I mean, this could be short kind of slogans you can remember, but you have to have a really deepening effect on you by subscribing to this right view. What does it do? The right view seems like a more intellectual. Now the right intention seems like go down your heart. So you therefore have to see what is the wrong intention, the wrongness of certain intention. So we need to spot the wrong intention. Wrong intention are usually craving for oneself, craving for this life, craving for the body, craving for me. These are the four wrong intentions. I don't know. Most people would not agree that these are nothing wrong about craving for the body's health. It seems like a quite universal craving. I don't think anybody have no craving for their body. So it's a wrong intention is full of it. People have craving for their body, and craving for this life, craving for self, and these three. Primarily these three, this life, self, and the body, and me. Sorry, this me, the self, the body, this life, and this life. These are the four cravings people have. So the right intention is usually renunciation of the wrong cravings, the cravings. So you have to therefore intently, subjectively thinking. Whether, for instance, when we're listening to this teaching or giving this teaching for my own case, or whether you're doing our community work this afternoon 2 hours, whatever it is, maybe you're actually physically doing the thing quite impressively and looks very good. But what is the actual intention of it? Quite a lot of the time, our intention has a strong tinge of these four, There is a feeling of I will do this. I will do the teaching as long as the temperature is correct in this room, for instance. So my body is comfortable. So my intent is as long as my body stay comfortable, then I'm quite willing to do the work. Otherwise, I may straight away stop. So if my craving is for the bodily well-being of myself, so my craving for the body is the wrong intention. Why? Because so what is the right intention? Right intention should be what is the real main purpose of the teaching is for the benefit of people. Never mind of your time, physical body of yourself, and therefore it will also be much long-lasting benefit for my mind stream rather than for my body. So right intention is try to develop an altruistic intention from one's undertaking rather than curtailed by a craving for my bodily comfort. So I have to therefore renounce craving for the body, and prioritize well-being of the benefit it will have and also benefit to my mind stream in the long run. So that's like renouncing the wrong intention for the body, and then second is the wrong intention of what gain I want to have from this. If my intention is for any particular gain or benefit or profit for my own sake, if the intent is selfish, if intent of teaching or intent of listening is just for me, then of course the body becoming for me and my body becomes very, very, very kind of identical. So if one is selfishly intended for oneself, one is not therefore renouncing the craving for selfishness. So altruistic motivation, right at the very beginning we say, by virtue of giving and the like, may I reach Buddhahood to aid beings. So the wording is there. The flowery words are there at the beginning. Flowery words are there. But whether the intent, when one does the activity, during the activity, not only at the beginning of the activity, but the middle of the activity, say, or toward the end of the activity. So if a session is there, the intent should not only be good in the beginning, but it should carry out throughout the activity, not derailed by some other kind of irritations or whatever it is, and conclude that with very, very graciously, with a very dedicated motivation. So if there's that case, then the intention is not self-centered, but for the benefit of others. So intense renouncing physical temporary benefit, renouncing selfish benefit. So therefore, developing right intention for the benefit of others through one's physical effort or verbal effort, whatever the case might be, and therefore having the goodwill to dedicate the effort for the benefit of others. Now, if each of us are very observant of our own intention while engaging in the act of listening or giving or helping somebody, or whether it's helping someone who has been very kind to you, or helping someone who is in great distress, or helping a good cause that has a great benefit to society, or honoring some very noble causes, or whatever the object of your activity is. For instance, activity, let's talk about 4 fields of generosity, for instance. If your objects of generosity is for instance your guest, your guest, or those who are those who are sick, or those who are destitute, those who are deaf, those who are blind, those who are intellectually handicapped, they have unprotected, they have no friend, they have nobody. Now, if your intention is to benefit to them, it is, for instance, the teaching of the Dharma, they say that the teacher should teach the Dharma with the intention of the sentient beings as patient, and Dharma as the medicine, and oneself as one who is delivering the medicine to the patient who needs the vaccines, And so if the intention is to deliver the medicine to cure the illness of sentient beings, some may be your friends, other may be your guests, others may be those pitiful people we were talking about, or some may be your parents out of gratitude, or a friend, or someone who has helped you a lot in the past, who has really rescued you from great difficulties. You have, out of gratitude, you whatever you do with intent of repaying the kindness of theirs, or with intention to relieve the sufferings of others. So these are what we call the very field of intention. Field of intention, the objects of intention. If it's for the benefit of others, then there's less likely of being intention for my body and myself. Yeah. So the wrong intention of me, my body, are a little bit avoided by virtue of prioritizing the benefiting the objects of your generosity, objects of your kindness. Whatever you might show that stems from the right intention. So the right intention usually is associated with the actual action or speech, output action of body or by speech, by the words. But then right intention itself can also be independently consummated by having the very intention. The very intention itself, and carry out the activities with the initial invention of the intention, and then carry out throughout that 1 hour or 2 hour or one whole day's activities without denting and compromising the intention. If you carry the intention throughout, so the ability to have a right intention first, for the benefit of others, for the benefit of mind stream, for the benefit of sentient beings, rather than for me, my body, this life, and so on. If one is very much craving for me, my body, now, and this life, a lot of people's intention is just now. What this morning I've got to get? Just I want something useful for this morning. That's it. Our intention is very short-sighted. Very short-sighted, So intention is short-sighted means think of what's in it for me this morning, for instance. So that's the wrong view. Wrong intention is short-sightedness, and wrong intention of selfishness, just for me, and wrong intention of being just physical. Physically, if you enjoy it, you will do it. Otherwise, you with physically a little bit of distress, and then you would give up. So the wrong intention of becoming too much becoming physical, too much short-sightedness of this just for now, and for the body, and for this life. Even just for this life, according to Buddhism, is a wrong intention. Sorry about that. So in Buddhism, you have to have a master plan. The master plan goes all the way from not just this life, but next life. Not just for me, but for others. Yeah. And not just for the body, also for the mind. Not just for myself, for the sake of others as well. So if you have all these 4 wrong views corrected, then we have the right intention of what we call renouncing those 4 wrong intentions. Renouncing both those wrong intentions. So that's called a right intention conceived under the practice of renunciation. Renouncing those 4, renouncing those 4. And then the second is, as long as you renounce these, practice the renunciation, because what does it renounce? It renounces desire. Desiring for body, desiring for now, desiring for me, desiring for this life. So all these, of course, some people might find, I don't mind about the next life, I want to just take care of this life. Some people say, I don't care about other people, I would just want it for myself. Others people say, I don't worry about mind, I want my body to be comfortable. I just want a nice chair, that's all I want. So this person is very irritated by the chair or seat that he's totally worried about his chair. So he becomes very, very frustrated by overemphasis of how comfortable a seat he should have, and he doesn't get, he can't stand there, still listen or still do other things. He's become, priority is his physical comfort. Buddha turned upside down. His priority is his mental clarity and calmness. So instead of seeking the pleasurable surrounding of palace life, which everybody desires, he renounced that with the intention to exchange with solitude and forest. So that's how Buddha conceived, because he realized craving and desire interferes your effectiveness even to benefit yourself, let alone others. So therefore he renounced the craving for his body, craving for him. He didn't mind all the criticism he got from his family, and everybody thought he was a failure. He was such a disgrace, running away from home, in society also. And he didn't mind all the criticism people got yet. So he renounced his selfish kind of his reputation. He totally gave up his reputation. Yeah? And his intention was not for himself, but for the benefit of all beings. So therefore, not for himself, not for his body, not for just for the few years, for the rest of life until essential enlightenment. He made the vow to sit under the tree, and that's the conception of Bodhi. Bodhi means enlightenment. Enlightenment is the best of all intention. When you have the enlightening intention, the bodhicitta, of course bodhicitta is exclusive Mahayana concept. Generally when Buddhists talks about Eightfold Path, they simply say devoid of craving, renunciation, and devoid of ill will and therefore goodwill, and devoid of self-cherishing and therefore with helpfulness, harmlessness. So harmlessness. So that's general Buddhists would emphasize these three: renunciation, goodwill, and harmlessness. Harmlessness. Now, in the Mahayanist context, when we talk about right intention, it very much talks about the selflessness. Yeah. You can never be harmless to other people if you are selfish. If the only way that you can be harmless is selfless. So harmlessness only comes from selflessness, and therefore right intention here constitute goodwill. The goodwill. Now this is the second one. Yeah, second one is how to abstain ill will. Basically, ill will is the wrong intention, and nevertheless, a lot of people are brooding ill will repeatedly with great commitment. They have a lot of commitment to brood the ill will, and they tell the stories to people why they justify for them to have this ill will even today. About 20 years later, they still are justifying their keeping of ill will without knowing it is wrong intention. wrong intention brings the wrong actions and wrong and undesirable results. So one needs to therefore knowingly recognize how to recognize wrong intentions. What is the wrong intention? Ill will. According to Buddhist teaching, they say ill will are 9 types. These 9 types are mainly to do with 9 objects. For instance, someone harmed you. Maybe you thought someone did this to me, and then you have an ill will towards him or her, in the past. Say it was 20 years ago, maybe somebody did a small thing and you thought they harmed you. And then since then you've been brooding the ill will. And therefore you're always keeping that ill will without any intention to get rid of it. So keeping that ill will towards someone who you believe did something in the past is the ill will object number 1. Ill will object number 1, okay? Okay, check whether you have this kind of ill will or not. Usually, most people's ill will are to do with what you thought people did to you, however long way ago. and cause a lot of people's story of poor me is what people did to me. And that is the cause of keeping the wrong intention. Wrong intention is ill will. Because the people think that keeping the ill will going will reward them one day. One day they will be rewarded for keeping the ill will after all these years. They have this delusion that keeping the ill will is going to reward them sometime later. But it's a wrong intention, because that will only cause ill will. Ill will basically means voluntarily choosing to stay ill. Yeah, voluntarily choosing to stay ill. So that's the first one. Second one is right now, presently, not just past action, presently one think someone is against you, and therefore you're developing ill will. Yeah, you think they are backbiting. You think they are still angry at you. You still think they are sabotaging you. You still think they are against you, and that kind of belief. This is the ill will in relation to people. You think they are doing things to harm you. So this is as a present kind of worries and anxieties, and most of them are paranoia, I suppose. Paranoia then brings the ill will. So one needs to recognize the source and how the ill will are brooded in relation to past wrongdoings of others, in relation to belief that others are still doing these things against you, And then the third one is suspecting and fearing that they will do this in the future. They will do harm to me in the future. And therefore, not only you couldn't pardon and forgive the wrongdoing by others, but still you have every suspicion and ill will and paranoia that they will. So about future wrongdoings that they may even never do, but you just assume they will. And as a result of that, you are putting a lot of ill will towards them. So we need to recognize these first three types of ill will in relation to yourself. That's very, very important. This comes from very ancient Buddhist teachings, how to classify the objects of 9 ill wills, nine objects of ill will. Yeah, 3 in relation to yourself, but past, present, and future. Now the next 3 is in relation to your loved ones. You have this ill will towards someone who has harmed your loved one in the past. So all the Israelis are angry against the Palestinians, thinking they did this 2 years ago in the 60s, in the 30s, and they're always brooding ill will. This is what we call ethnic ill will. Ethnic ill will is because they're always thinking these people did this to us and in the past, and therefore you have this strong ill will towards past people who have done, you believe, have done something towards your people or your loved ones. And then same goes with the presently also thinking they're still doing this towards my people, to my race, or to my ethnicity, to my culture, and you're constantly angry. And your ill will is not going off like a fire. Under the ash, there's a lot of ember there, because one is still believing that they are still doing these things. Maybe the people are not doing, they just regret they did, what a mistake that was, and they really wish that it never happened. But we continue to believe they're still up to the same thing. They're still doing the same thing, scheming and planning, even as we speak. So one is assuming, and therefore one is developing the wrong intention. Oh, he's doing this. Oh, they're still doing this to us. Oh, they're doing this. They're planning this. They're doing this. And then third one is what these very people might do, same thing to my children, my country, my land, our nationality, our race, and so on. So one's ill will just spreads like a cancer. And so if particularly if you belong to a culture you are very attached to, or your people, like something like that, it's a terrible karma. People don't realize how dukkha is created by ill will. Yeah, they don't realize how dukkha is created by the ill will, and when they're ill willing, they don't know it's a wrong intention. So right intention is recognize the wrong intentions. You can't have a right intention from a shop or order from Kathmandu. Or from Bodh Gaya you can order right intention. Right intention is subjectively spotting our own wrong intentions and our own ill will. Our own ill will, through whom, about what deed, what incidents, what incident may happen, what incident is happening, or what incident you led to believe did happen in the past. So those are the second group of three in relation to your loved ones. Now the next three is even more interesting. So this is a kind of a ill will towards someone, someone who helped your enemy in the past. Ill will towards someone who helped your enemy in the past. So you say, oh, he helped him, I hate him, but yet he helped him. So they are together. So you're developing ill will to those people they helped last time. That's last time. And so you continue to develop ill will because your people you don't like, you like, but someone helped, someone empowered them, someone taught them, someone gave them, someone did something, and you cannot rejoice, but you have ill will. So it's quite, you can see how sick it is. It is a very sick, usually we should rejoice. We should rejoice if someone helps somebody. But no, in this case, we can't, we don't want anybody help him. Why? Because we hate him. So that's about past. And the second is about the present. Presently, someone is helping. Someone is helping as we speak. The very person, very person that we don't like. Someone is helping. They're still helping. They said still friends. Are they still friends? Damn it! So we develop this ill will. Someone's ongoing friendships. We usually practice metta bhavana, loving kindness meditation. May all be well and happy. Yeah, that's right. Their happiness comes from friendship, and you're miserable. So where's your prayer? See, the prayers are said easily said, let them done. So that's why right intention is a spotter of the wrong intention, the ill will. And then same goes with the third one, and developing ill will, fearing that these people will still help the person you don't like in the future. Don't ever help him again, okay? Almost saying that, don't help them anymore. Don't go and help somebody else, not him. See, we become so mean, so busybody. So most people's suffering comes from ill will. So the right intention is spotting the wrong intention, which is ill will. And then when these nine object or subjects of ill will is recognized, then we recognize the wrong ill will. We recognize ill will as the poison. And when we recognize ill will as poison, that's the noble truth of the origin. Your origin of sorrow is your ill will, and your suffering came from that. So that's the truth of suffering. Your truth of suffering came from your ill will. And only way that you can put an end to the ill will is goodwill. And therefore you have to practice the Eightfold Noble Path, of which this is the right intention. Yeah, right intention. Right intention. Therefore we must spot and stop, spot and stop. First you have to spot the wrong intention, then you can stop. Because you can't stop something unless you can spot the wrongness. You can't wash a stain of a cloth unless you spot the stain. The stain remover you don't put everywhere. You put on wherever the stain is. See, the Dharma is a stain remover. You have to put where the spot is. And then you put the spot, stain remover on the place. So one has to recognize ill will. People who have ill will quickly increases the blood pressure, causes inflammation, causes the growth of all kinds of things in some of the important organs of the body in no time. Why do people have regular blood pressure check? Because they have been cultivating ill will. If they are brooding ill will, and yet they don't know it's ill will. So where's the right intention? Because self-centeredness completely clouded the person's mind from having any such subjective clarity to recognize. So the right intention of the Eightfold Noble Path is amazingly metacognitive subjective awareness. Metacognitive subjective awareness, and when you are able to do this, then you try to now practice goodwill, adopt a goodwill. In Mahayana Buddhism, you promise to practice altruism. In general Buddhism, you promise to practice loving kindness, metta bhavana. May all beings have happiness, a cause of happiness. Yeah, I mean, it's very nice to say all beings, but those around you, you can't be bothered. Practice loving kindness too. I'll practice loving kindness to all, but you not, but except you. People are often excluding individuals. That's the problem. One sentient being is too much to exclude when you think about right intention. Don't try to be Mahayanist. The Mahayanists who are so mean to certain people, but great-hearted people towards all sentient beings, he's very Mahayanist. But with few people he has to really deal with, he is not willing to change his attitude. That's not right intention. Right intention must be, why I have this ill will towards someone. Usually the objects of your ill will are those very four. Either someone who has been very close and loving relationship with you, but something happened in the history, or someone you really loved and respected and attracted to, you have amazing kind of attachment to, and then all of a sudden you didn't get certain things you want, and all of a sudden you become cruel. A lot of people's anger towards somebody is just because they didn't get what they want from the person. See? So the ill will come from desire. When the desire is not fulfilled, then their desire turns anger and ill will. So that's why the first one, the renunciation of those four, self, body, me, now, this life. Unless one renounces these four, the desire is not curtailed. When the desire is not curtailed, then ill will not, because ill will is a result of unfulfilled desire. So that's why that's the relationship with the desire and ill will. Yeah, the desire comes first because that's the most gross. Ill will is second because that's more subtle. So if you see this right intention is now in the cultivating state, then you have this amazing sign of renunciation. Renouncing ill will, renouncing attachment to your own ideas, let alone attachment to the objects. Objects themselves don't have anything in themselves. They're all projected by the craving mind. Mind craving sees things that lacks in the object. Yeah. So therefore, it's not hard to renounce, is it? You just have to renounce when you change your mind, change your intention. When you change your intention, then therefore wrong intention is recognized as wrong because you're feeling sick in that intention. What is people sick from? Usually wrong intention. They're brooding wrong intention. They don't support that. They think it's the food they ate or people they went with. They don't realize they're holding the wrong intention. They're holding the wrong intention, and they don't realize the wrong intention is the seed of the suffering. The craving is the seed of the suffering, and ill will is the seed of the suffering. When they don't know the seed, of course they will see all this weed growing everywhere. Because they never recognize the seed of the weed. Weed grows from seeds that you didn't recognize were weeds growing seeds. Yeah, weeds comes from seeds as well, Weeds doesn't drop overnight from the sky, okay? Weeds are once upon a time small seeds. Small seeds. So the seeds, in Buddhism, we usually do the purification practice. We pick the sesame seed. Sesame seed is very difficult to pick because they're so tiny, isn't it? Likewise, very difficult to spot the seeds of ill will, seeds of attachment, seeds of craving, seeds of, self-importance. We don't recognize these things. Once you have recognized these, then you have the fitness to renounce, and when you renounce, reduce your attachment, then you naturally have less ill will. And then what you have? More contentment. When you have right intention, you have more contentment, more gratitude. Exact opposite of the 9 objects of ill will, now 9 objects of goodwill. 9 objects of goodwill. So, 9 objects in relation to those past, present, future, self, yourself, your loved ones, and your hated ones. In relation to them, you now have goodwill to all of them. So amazing. You have right intention. Even so, somebody and you have mutually did something wrong, and we thought they harmed us, and they think we harmed us, but actually both are mutual. It takes two, they call it. Then feeling so sorry and forgive each other, and therefore now you have the goodwill towards someone with whom you have a bad experience mutually, particularly your own selfishness was the main dictator. Now you admit that, and then you develop forgiveness towards them, goodwill towards them. You now have the power to practice forgiveness. Why? Towards someone you thought they harmed you and you had ill will. Now you have actually goodwill towards them. You don't believe it's entirely them. Why? Because you have the access to right view. Everything is interdependently originated. Nothing is truly by itself. So therefore, all that difficulty all ensued due to many causes and conditions, not entirely by him, not entirely by those things, due to many causes and conditions. Yet I brooded all this ill will, all this time in the past. What a loss of time that it is. I will now reclaim that with goodwill. Now all those 9 objects of ill will can now slowly become 9 objects of goodwill. Why? Because you have the right access to right view, to make things impermanent. You change your wrong views as wrong views and change into right views, and then don't keep their ill wills, and you replace them with goodwill. You renounce the old wrong ways and replace them with goodwill. See, now you don't keep complaining about your old tire of the car. You just change the tire. That's all. Renounce the worn out tire and replace with the new one, and that's good. And it didn't cost anything. Just swipe your card. That's all it takes. Just swipe the card, and that's all. Even there's not much in your account, but swipe the card, it'll be fine. It's not worth arm and leg to suffer. So in this way, right intention is healing of wrong intention, of turning the craving into letting go, into the ill will with goodwill. And then what you have? Then the third is the benevolence. Then harmlessness. Now you have an intention that's always careful of not harming yourself and others and future of both. So that is the harmlessness, intention of non-violence, harmlessness. and maybe even helpfulness, And why? You know that helpfulness only comes from when you have a good intention. If your intention is about not you, not your body, not today, not this life, then definitely, if it is not you, it's you're doing for others, not for today, on the future benefit, yeah, not for the body, benefit of your mind stream, not for this life, other lives. Very sure, very far-sighted now. People who have good intention have far-sighted purposes why they want to practice goodwill. So the right intention is, never mind how difficult it is on the surface, in the contemporary time, but nevertheless it needs to be done, and for the benefit of greater good of many and future and the mind and the others. So very, very good, Instead of me, my body, now, and this life. So these are four attachments. These 4 attachments. All attachments are poison, and so one needs to therefore develop renunciation. So what do you therefore find is, otherwise, when the mind has not neither practiced renunciation, which is the craving, nor practice giving up of ill will with practice right intention, then your mind will be full of fear and loathing. When you have right intention, this everyone is your friend, Nangsi Tamche, all appearance are your friends. All sentient beings are your friend. Not just those who are nice to you, but even those who seems a bit abrasive towards you. In terms of overall, you do not harbor any ill will, personally speaking. You don't, because you still see the greater good that you can transform the situation into. Because why? You happen to have right intention. When your intention is not tainted by craving, ill will, and the wrong views, then that right intention usually means how to prevent the mind from being tainted by any of the 3 poisons one's on mind now. So one becomes much more subjectively, cognitively introspective in terms of seeing one's own intent and recognizing good intention, right intention from wrong intention to very sort of unclear intention. So therefore they say check your motivation. So right intention means motivation. Even in today's contemporary legal kind of interpretation, quite a lot of the legal cases nowadays are not quite able to give a verdict unless they check the motivation. They're now checking intention of the person. Why did you that? So they're talking about what was the intention of the person, whether it was a self-defense or whether it was his wish to harm others, or was it better than that, protect the other one from doing further damage to themselves. So there, even legal kind of cases are now talking about the need to examine the intention of the person with which they did the action. It's amazing. That's quite a progress, quite a progress to check the intention of what may be assumed as a violent act, or it may look violent on the surface, but what was his intention? These days, of course, the training of the police and all the security people often try to train them so that further damage is prevented. That's the mainly intention of policing. The intention of policing is to safeguard the society. Nowadays, people see the police, they don't feel safeguard. They feel they're going to be harmed. They're taking the power in their hand a bit too much, and without the person wasn't armed or anything, he looked maybe long-bearded or maybe shabbily dressed or something, but they feel justified to shoot at him. and put their knee on the neck of somebody, not even allowing to breathe. What was the intention of that? What was the intention of that? You know, it's so obvious what he was doing. You know, you don't have to check intention. The action speaks louder, they call it. You know, you don't. The person is unarmed. He's in front of 4 policemen who are all armed. What can he do? Maybe he can run a couple of meters, but that's not going to do great harm. It doesn't justify to shoot. You know, what's the intention of shooting? Or just to prove that I have more power than you? So even those who are in powerful positions, you know, unless they become cognizant of their own intention, that unintended intentions are often unconsciousness. People are not conscious. They say people do many things unconsciously, particularly unconscious of their intentions. So the Eightfold Noble Path is to bring consciousness in so unconscious people's life. You know, how to bring conscious of their own what you call unmanifest motivation. If we check the motivation, we cannot straight away go and say or do without checking our motivation. That's why we always say check your intention, because intention is wholesome, altruistic, kindness, and compassion, and non-violent. Then most likely your whatever you do will have a long-term benefit. Some people do things with you long time. Maybe they did a lot, but it didn't help you much in the long run. Other people do small things, but it help lasts long. So main thing is not the quantity of the hours or the workload the person do, but with what intention they did the thing. You know, those people who did with good intention have a long-lasting benefit. Why? They did so for the altruistic motivation, for the benefit of others, for the future, for the greater good of many. Even the time and energy was put by a finite person every day, but he did so for the benefit of greater good of many. Then those kind of activities have a long-lasting benefit. Even though it was only a sole Indian prince who sat under the Bodhi tree as on a vigil, you know. Bodhi means enlightenment. Enlightenment means right intention. His intent to sit under the Bodhi tree, to give up his palace, was not because the palace life was too daunting for him and too demanding, and he just wanted to, you know, go on the beach and lie on the sand, don't want to do any job, and therefore he got frustrated, and therefore he left the palace. That's not the case. His intention of renunciation was how much suffering was caused by craving and desire and attachment and ill will. And when he saw these are the rudimentary causes of all the dukkha that no sentient being ever wanted, but yet that's all they're getting, he was so troubled by this discovery, and hence he couldn't, the food had no taste. He had no interest to do the job of a prince, because he was too hurt by the feebleness of human beings who couldn't overcome their own misery and recognize their causes. So he went in search for the benefit of all sentient beings. Never mind the criticism, never mind the physical hardships that he had to go through. Yeah, he didn't do it for his bodily comfort. Yeah, he didn't do it just for the time being. Yeah, he didn't do it just for his own benefit. He didn't do it just for this life. Buddha overcame renounced all of those 4 fixations, and then went in search of the truth and practiced Bodhi. Bodhi means right intention. His main meditation was to keep guarding the bodhicitta. You know, most meditation is so that you can develop bodhicitta, so that you conceive this altruism. Even calm abiding, even deity yoga meditation, these are all so that you can conceive the bodhicitta and not lose that kind and good heart. When he conceived and realized that, fully enlightened, he became enlightened. Fully enlightened means means become fully selfless. Yeah? It's the good intention that becomes enlightenment. That is enlightenment. Enlightenment is not some 30 feet up in the sky. 30,000 feet up in the sky is very cold. Don't ever try go there. Heaven is very, very miserable up there. Very cold. I don't think hell is much more different either downstairs. So I think heaven and hell is basically whether there is selfishness or selflessness. Selflessness is heavenly and in good intention. That's why Eightfold Path, one of the 8 spokes of Wheel of Dharma, is good intention. But the good intention that you practice, and then it is from the good intention. Then whatever you practice, such as right speech, which will be the topic of next week, then what you speak will be, you can make the sound of the speech that is concordant with this right intention. Those with the right intention speak words that has a huge benefit. Those who have intentions that are wrong or like that, they have huge harm. Lots of sufferings caused by bad mouthing. And because people lack right intention, because they lack right intention, then whatever they say, they think they have the power to say. You wouldn't believe how many defamation cases are there because people think they can say and write whatever they like. They don't realize after that they have completely alienated themselves because of what they did. Like some very famous authors, They write a book, sold maybe millions, but he himself can never surface in the society because he's hated by everybody who he hurt. So therefore, when we talk about the Eightfold Path, you need to intersect all the Eightfold Path. First, we understand what's the right view, and then we say right intention today, and then you try to intersect the right intention with the right view. Very good. Which means, from the point of view right intention, we have to change our past soiled wrong views, such as thinking I'm real, I'm permanent, my story, what happened to me is still the same. That kind of unchanging, never changing your attitude. So you have to change. You have to have intention to change your opinions of the past. Very good. So if you change your opinions of the past, you wouldn't have ill will as much. Because of that, you didn't just believe in impermanence. You're doing the impermanent things. You're changing your attitude. I have people say, I have changed. Oh, thank goodness you have changed. That's good. Not just looking at the physical change. We're talking about changing the attitude. Very good. No longer have the ill will towards somebody. Why? Because you have conceived the right intention and right view intersected together, and then how these two now become this beautiful vehicle, beautiful wheel of Dharma that takes you great mileage, and you will advance and make progress on the path as a result of these exercises. So with this in mind, we need to understand the how to intersect the Eightfold Path, and particularly the right intention, right motivation. So right motivation, because right action and right speech, people will judge, people will witness. But they say animal stripe is on the outside, human stripe in the inside. What the human stripe they're referring to? They're not talking about a kidney. Kidney stripes could be checked under the scan. They're talking about intention. Your intention, stripe of your intention, could not be viewed by anybody. Particularly if you can't spot your intention and check the need of their correction. Who can ever check your motivation? So therefore, people meditate in Mahayana teachings, always checking, make sure the bodhicitta is called. We have to do a bodhicitta prayers 100,000 times minimum. Not so much you say it 100,000, but check your motivation, check your intention, And quite a lot of the time, your meditation should be just checking your intention. If you have hurt or pain over something, you realize, oh, I had the ill will, I had the wrong view. Oh, I have this craving. I did renounce those wrong views. That's my pain and suffering came from my wrong intention. To prove somebody wrong, to prove I'm right. Most people have this intention when they go to complain something, when they register complain something, or go to as far as court or litigation. Their intention is prove the other wrong. Every litigation is full of wrong intentions. It's so that you can prove them wrong and prove that they harmed me. And then law said, yes, they harmed you. You are the poor victim. Oh, yes. The wrong view becomes sealed as the right view. So the suffering will never stop. Never stop. Lift the curse if you get the right intention. If you get the right intention of heeding to the Dharma, we will lift that curse of this wrong view, of this wrong intention. Then, what does right intention means? We have this amazing weight from our shoulder completely lifted. And that's called refuge. You find refuge. You find solace and peace and fitness to conceive right motivation to replace the wrong motivations. And our practice of Dharma is mainly to mind that. You have to see your mind, know your mind, tame your mind, and as this taming of your mind is try to slowly plane those abrasive, rough and violent and that kind of attitudes and make it very devoid of any abrasive thoughts, any ill will, wrong view, and then you will see your heart filled with a lot of unconditional loving kindness and forgiveness and compassion, and by your refuge in the Triple Gem, and therefore you no longer have the same darkness and demonic thoughts anymore. Why? Your practice of meditation and self-discipline has empowered you to conceive the benefit of right intention. So right intention is only when we are constantly checking and correcting and spotting and replacing and pausing and then learning to improve the quality of our motivation and intention. And this greatly, I would say, also causes the ability to pause before what one says or does, and all the right speech, right actions, and livelihood, and all the others are become a lot more empowered, if you have the right view first and the right intention on top of that. So with this, we will conclude here, everyone. Thank you. Do the dedication of merits for the benefit of many others, as our intention was not to do anything for me now, for the body, or this life, but we rather hope that our listening to the teaching will benefit our others and our future and our mind stream and next life with that belief. Because otherwise people become very, very frustrated. They become, again, something just didn't get on well, and they become very frustrated. All of a sudden they're full of a strife. Because one doesn't know how to avoid those four fixations. So being able to overcome the four fixation enable us to look and listen and think of the teachings, and then see what it can empower us to get rid of some of the lingering ill will of the past, or fear of the future, or thinking they are still happening in the present life. So all these anxieties and depression comes from these ill wills. Ill will is never recognized as the cause of suffering. Society never say, what was your intention? They say, what did they do to you? They always talk, what other people do. They never say, what was your intention? Instead of a person makes you think, oh, look at themselves, you know. We always talk about what other people said or did or alleged to have said or did, and you know, they say that the deluded people discuss people. The wise people discuss ideas. And practitioners discuss no one. But mind their own intention. Mind their own intention. So then you will have a lot of giggles. Oh, you could just agree to disagree with your past attitude and drop them, and you set yourself free from that, because you are not discussing people or ideas, but your own attitude. You reflect on your own intention. The bodhicitta meditation is very difficult to do, because you have to first conceive bodhicitta and then boost it. Atisha the Great went to Tibet and he realized he lacked the bodhicitta. I'm sure he had more than anybody else, but he nevertheless realized he was really crook in Tibet. He said he didn't like the food because Tibetan food is very difficult to like, particularly anybody else. I don't think, except Tibetans are exception. And even Indians don't like Tibetan food. And in 11th century, Atisha was not exceptional. He didn't like the food, and also he didn't like the people's customs, and he didn't know the language. He was frustrated, He thought he was going to be welcomed as a very celebrated, amazing Indian bhikkhu in Tibet. Of course he was, but he was a really, for the Tibetans, they always want to look at fair people. Fair people they think is good, but they see a dark Indian. This is the monk we worship. This dark Bengali monk comes, sunken eye, long nose, so many opinions, culturally completely incorrect, and he found very difficult. Then it took a while, He nearly returned home, but then he realized he lacked bodhicitta. And then he did 100,000 bodhicitta prayers in Thunding Monastery in Western Tibet. And then he had great realization from that retreat. And then he wrote the small text called Lamp to the Path of Enlightenment. That became a seminal text on which many great Tibetan texts were Graduate Path Enlightenment, the Tsongkhapa's writing and many other people's writing, all were modeled on the basis of Atisha. So because he was he admittedly struggled the quality of his own intention, because he was crook. He was not happy. He wanted to go back. And yet, remember only a few years ago, he hesitated going to Tibet, having heard of that altitude and all the things. But Tara told him he should go. The benefit will be great. It will be hard on you, but it will be good for others. She already told him that. She already told it will be hard on you, but good for others. So, and he nearly forgot that he need to forbear the hard on him and remember great benefit it will give. Now the great benefit is even today. His name is like immortal. He's like only second to the Buddha and Padmasambhava and so on, because he heeded to the good intention. He renovated his intention. He's renovated his intention in the Bodhicitta retreat. But often people don't realize their intention needs to be reviewed and improved. And so that's why right intention, right motivation. It's right is not a noun. It's a result of an action. So it's a right action that changed his intention. It doesn't. Right intention isn't something you can buy. Right intention has to replace the wrong intention, recognize spot the wrong intention, and then get rid of them and see their poisonousness, and then replace them and conceive them with great growth, and it's called enlightenment. Even enlightenment is a realization of the right intention. It's the 10 levels of bhumis is the gradual development of the selflessness and helpfulness to other sentient beings, and renouncing totally oneself, one's body, one's life, one's name, time, all of that. One shouldn't think about your time, my time. Your time is for everyone. So there's no my time, So don't charge hourly rate. If you're charging hourly rate, I think you are still stuck in samsara. So with this we will conclude, everyone. Thank you very much. We do the dedication marriage. From the ocean of the Erenda Maya Natij whatever Mereda Havegra Meobe Begas Levels Jehoda Maya Natij Courage Manjushin Sama Rabba Rajilava follow it over the Hezabo Asha de Ode Mere Mede Hezelem Bodi Jeda Jeba Verena Yeraza Whereas Bembo Meding freely without generation. Thank you, everyone. Take care. See you next week. Or this week. Or right now. Still there. Thank you.
Thank you.